Hey everyone, welcome back to the Focus on Focusing podcast. I am one of your hosts, Cynthia.
I'm your other one, Tanya. And I'm your other one, Olivia.
So today we're going to be talking about anxiety and ADHD and how they go hand in hand. Um, ADHD overlaps with a lot of other mental health disorders, but anxiety is usually the most common. And many people with ADHD experience anxiety, but it's not always recognized. So, does anyone want to introduce our icebreaker question?
I can. Okay, so our question for this episode is what's something that instantly makes your brain spiral, even when you know it's probably fine? And
Oh,
I can actually probably go ahead and answer mine.
yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah. When multiple things are happening at once, specifically like trying to make plans. I think this literally happened to us earlier when we were at the coffee shop. We were like trying to make our plans,
Yeah.
and then I was trying to make plans with my boyfriend at the same time. And I was like, hang on, there's like
Yeah.
too much going on at once. My brain feels like it's like trying to figure out like both, and I'm trying to like get dates and plans and like I just get overwhelmed and like overstimulated.
Right,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
right. Mhm.
no, this is too much. Even though I know like it'll get worked out. It's fine. It's not
Yeah,
like major like plans, but it's like it just gets
it's
to be too
so
much at one time.
right.
Yeah. I think mine is like procrastination. That is a big one that makes my brain spiral almost every day. Even
Yeah.
if I know it's due in like a week, I start freaking out. But I always end up leaving it till like the last couple days
Yeah.
because that's just how my brain works. But I know like I always have time, but it just makes me start freaking out really fast about it.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's just like school. School is like the main thing
Mhm.
that makes my brain spiral. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I miss this one thing, my career is over. Like, I'm a failure. I'm never gonna do good in school. Like, it's like it's bigger things than that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And also just like, I feel like a lot, this used to be a lot, not that much anymore, but with like friendships, like, I know like maybe there was like some tension or like any like little like thing that would happen in friendships, I would immediately spiral and I would be like, oh my God, they don't want to be my friend anymore.
Yeah.
They don't want to hang out with me anymore.
Yeah.
Like they
That's
hate
a
me.
hard one.
Yeah. So
Especially when you're like just making like it's new friends too.
right.
And you're like, of course, like you want to make a good impression or like you
Yeah.
want them to think you're, whatever. And it's like for one little thing and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
what's they gonna think of me?
Exactly. Okay, so now we have the empirical article of the day or the empirical research article of the day. So the National Institute of Health um, conducted a study observing the anxiety effects model and the ADHD effects model. So what the anxiety effects model is it presents the idea that anxiety symptoms may develop into ADHD symptoms, and the ADHD effects model is the opposite, where ADHD symptoms may develop into anxiety symptoms. So they used a sample of 258 children and collected data from their parents, who then recorded their children's symptoms. And what they concluded was that ADHD symptoms were accurate predictors for anxiety. So, in other words, the ADHD effects model was supported, but the hypothesis that anxiety predicted ADHD was not supported. So, the anxiety effects model was not supported.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah,
So, ADHD can lead to anxiety, but anxiety wouldn't necessarily lead to ADHD. Yeah,
yeah,
that is
exactly.
interesting. Okay, so now we're gonna go into understanding the connection between ADHD and anxiety. Um, the main like definition for ADHD is like difficulty with attention, regulation, like planning things out and like having impulse control. That is a big one for ADHD. And for anxiety, it's just like you're excessively worrying about things, you have this fear of failure, and you get overstimulated. So those things kind of correspond with each other because people get those confused all the time on is it ADHD or is it anxiety? But you could definitely tell a difference if you look into it more.
Mhm.
Um, some ADHD symptoms that may trigger your anxiety would be like missing deadlines because you get that sense of like you procrastinated from your ADHD, so it makes you start worrying.
And
Um,
stressed, yeah.
yeah, and then you just become more distracted, so that makes you more anxious. And then you're constantly forgetting things, which can trigger your anxiety because you're scared of letting people or even like those deadlines, you're scared of missing out on all those. And then you just start overthinking small tasks, um, and it causes you to like really freak out in the brain. Um, so yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah, it's kind of like this big cycle. Like it just keeps
Right.
going. Like the ADHD comes in and the anxiety, and then it like
Yep.
it's just kind of this like very overwhelming cycle that just keeps
Right.
going.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that could tie into what is called ADHD guilt. So it's like the feeling of falling behind or not doing good enough, which we kind of talked about earlier, where it was like these like big assignments.
Mhm.
If you miss something or you like get a bad grade on something, you automatically think, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to fail.
So this kind of leads us into a prompt that we have. And this is just for our listener to think about, like, as you're listening to the rest of this episode or as you go on with your day, wherever that may find you. But it's just a question of, do you think your anxiety is more about fear of messing up or the fear of not being enough? Which is a little deep, I realize, but it's just something to think about and kind of be mindful of while you're, recognizing maybe some of these symptoms that you may have of either ADHD or anxiety or both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is like a good thing. Because then you can kind of pinpoint, like, what, and you can kind of, like, we talked about this last podcast where you could journal
Mm-hmm.
and kind of talk about some patterns. So when you're experiencing anxiety, maybe try to journal. Am I scared of messing up or do I not feel good enough?
Yeah.
So, or am I not being enough?
And then that even kind of takes us into our next thing about looking at what it feels like day to day with ADHD and anxiety. So there's kind of this like double pressure because, as we said before, it's kind of like a cycle. Like ADHD makes it hard to start tasks, but then your anxiety makes it terrifying not to start the task. So you're kind of in like this weird in between where you're like, oh, I know I need to get this done and I'm stressed about getting this done, but like I can't go get it done. Like I don't want to go get it done, but I know I need to. And it's kind of like this weird like in the middle feeling.
I think we also kind of this is all ties back together. I feel like we mentioned in a previous episode too, literally having that feeling of like you need to start it, you need to get it done.
Yep.
But it's like something in your brain like is telling you not to, or like your body doesn't
Yeah.
want to. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Even with something like, I know we talked about this before, but like, you need to go to bed. Maybe you're like anxious because you have like a big meeting in the morning, so you need to go to bed, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't stop doom scrolling. And it's like,
Yeah.
what is going on? I know what I need to do, but for some reason, like, I can't.
Yes.
Yeah. And like I think I've also heard like phrase like analysis paralysis. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
where you think so much that you can't act, that you're kind of just like frozen and you're like where do I even start? Like,
Yeah. Oh, that is a rough feeling. Like you're kind of just stuck.
yeah, exactly. And I
No,
feel like
yeah.
I don't know, do y'all ever have like any other experiences where like you're kind of stuck in that like weird middle?
Um, I definitely my anxiety definitely takes place in like overthinking.
Yes.
So I think like kind of going back to what I said earlier with like our icebreaker, if there's like a lot kind of happening at once, my brain just gets really overwhelmed. Even if it's not like at a particular moment, but maybe I like wake up and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have like all this stuff to do today." And I'm like trying to like make a to-do list, but I'm like just so overwhelmed, but then I know I need to get it done, and it's like just kind of almost this like battle back and forth with myself of
Right.
like trying to figure out what's going on and then trying to actually do it.
I feel like I over like prepare. Like I'll do it like down to like the minute of what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up not happening and I feel like it throws me off completely.
Yeah.
I agree. I struggle with that a lot. I'm very like I think I like try to stick to a routine. So for instance, yesterday my work schedule got thrown off and I already woke up feeling pretty anxious about the day. So it kind of just set my mood for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting anxious at work. You know, my client did not have a good day, so it was making me overthink that I wasn't doing a good job. But I know that's all just in my head and I apologize a lot for everything. Even if it wasn't my fault, if a random stranger ran into me, I will say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yes.
just
I'm
little
so
stuff
bad
like
at
that.
that.
Yeah, I struggle with that a lot.
I always get people to say, "You don't have to say sorry." I'm like, "Sorry."
Yeah, like stop it. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm bad at like waking up in the morning and being like, okay, like this is what I want to do for my day. But as we all know, being in college, like
Yep.
your day always changes or like
Yeah.
something happens or I don't know, it's like unpredictable, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
So then at the end of my day, sometimes I'll come home and be like, "Ugh," like I mean, I had a good day, like I was productive, but like technically I didn't get the things done that I wanted to, and it like makes me
Exactly.
feel like just so anxious about it.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And I also have a tough time saying no to people. Like if my like
Yes. Oh my
roommate or like
gosh.
my like friend want to do something and I'm like, okay.
Mm.
Like even though I know I have this like thing in the back of my mind that
Yeah.
I have to get done and I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, sure. Like I'll like I remember my roommate was like, "Are you doing anything tonight? Like we can go like have dinner or whatever." And I'll be like, I do have homework to do and it's like due soon and it's been kind of on my
Yep.
mind. Like I'm
Yeah.
anxious about it, but I don't know how to say no. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. And then in my head I'm like, okay, what? We'll take like an hour. And then an hour turns into 2 hours.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
Right. And then you're tired and you just like come home and want to go to bed.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get those like physical symptoms of like your heart racing super
Mhm,
fast and
yes.
your stomach really just tenses up. And for me, I like shake really bad when I get anxious.
Too.
And honestly, all those can cause headaches, and headaches are not fun.
No.
So, like, even like little things, I'm driving on the street that makes me anxious. You know, I just start shaking and it feels weird, and it's a day-to-day life. Like you have to go through those roads, you have to attend school even when you're feeling really anxious,
Mhm.
and it really does affect your day in general. So just
Mhm.
figuring out a way to like manage it or find a routine of things that make you feel better, that always
Yeah.
helps. So
Yeah, there's definitely ways to cope with it. And again, go to your counseling center. You're at school. Um, they'll definitely help you manage with that. There's a lot of ways to manage your anxiety,
mhm.
and it doesn't just have to be medication wise. It could be other things like self-soothing
Yeah,
techniques,
or
like
mindfulness. That's a
yeah.
really good one to like to start practicing.
Yeah, like I know one of the biggest ones is like that I talked about with my therapist. Like I really find comfort with my mom, like and during like
Mm-hmm.
times where I feel anxious. So I told her I was like, when I don't have my mom around, like what do I do? Like I can't just go up to her and like
Right.
expect her to like fix everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she was like, well, like what's something like that feels like your mom. Like
Uh-huh.
that sounds weird, but she was kind of like, "Oh, well, kind of give yourself like a hug and like
Okay.
almost like pretend like, oh, that's my mom giving me a hug."
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
really
And
good idea.
yeah, like it kind of has helped me where I'll like rub like my own arm, so then it also doesn't
Yes.
look like I'm just like fully hugging myself in public and I'm
Uh-huh.
like curled up in a ball. So it's just kind of like having my arms crossed, like holding them, like kind of like like self-soothing
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
techniques. Yeah.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
then talking about just trying to cope and stuff, that does kind of like take us into our next little bit because I know sometimes for me, knowing like why I'm feeling this way or why I'm reacting this way, like why my brain's working that way, helps
Yeah.
me to like understand it better and can like kind of calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about is
Yeah.
why does your brain do all of this?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are both of these conditions, sorry, both ADHD and anxiety involve dysregulation in the executive functioning, and I'm gonna use some fancy words like the dopamine systems in your brain. Um, so ADHD is obviously an underactive attention system. And then anxiety is overreactive. So again, we talked about um, where uh, ADHD is like makes it hard to start tasks, but anxiety is like where you're terrified not to start the task. So again, ADHD like is underactive, anxiety is overreactive.
Yes.
And so what your brain is doing during these times is that it's just constantly switching between like panic, but then also like freezing and like shutting down.
Yeah.
And so obviously like it feels like a almost like a tsunami where like these like or like a tornado where it's like we learned about what like it was like a cold front and a hot front together just kind of
together
like
they just start
swirl.
mixing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where your ADHD can kind of struggle to filter out these like false alarms. And so then anxiety kind of fills the gap by then like hyperfixating on like those potential problems.
Yes.
Yeah. So another prompt we have for our listeners, Tanya, do you wanna?
Yes. This prompt is like, have you ever noticed like your anxiety kicking in right after you procrastinate? It's like your heart starts racing, your brain just flowing of adrenaline, you know, and you feel like your brain is punishing you for like procrastinating.
Yeah.
That's something I do think
Yes.
about a lot.
That happens to me all the time. Or even if like I know that I need to do something, but I'm like,
Yeah.
like it could really wait till tomorrow. Like I'm gonna give myself like some time to rest.
Yes.
My brain's like, "Ugh, no, like you should do it now, and then like you don't have to do it. Like I really do like punishing is such a good word to use for this because I feel like that's exactly what's going on. Like I'm again having that like battle with myself, and I'm like, no, I just want to like chill and rest. Like I've done a lot today.
I think that's what causes me to also stay up really late. Like, I know
Yeah.
I mentioned this to y'all, like, I'll stay up until 3 a.m. doing my work because I get just super anxious about it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna have time tomorrow. Like, this is the only like, time that I'll have. Like, but I feel like that's another thing. Get good sleep, guys. That's also a big thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that is a really big thing that helps a lot.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
prioritize your sleep, like, prioritize your health. You can always wake up early the next day or just find more time the next day. But yeah.
Yeah, that is a really good question to think about for yourself, throughout this or even after listening to the podcast. You could self-reflect on it too.
Yeah.
And honestly, that brings us into like our coping and calming strategies for like having ADHD and anxiety. Um you can start off by like body-based grounding, so that includes like breathing, having stretching moments, and even just like getting up from your chair after sitting doing homework for over an hour or two. That really does help you. You feel that adrenaline rush like kind of go away once you stand up. And if you self-regulate your breathing, can help you from an anxiety attack.
One breathing technique that I've actually learned is you breathe in, like you inhale for, I don't remember how many seconds it is, but let's say like 5 to 7, something like that. But then you exhale for like 2. And it kind of like gets your brain like, it just kind of like gets you to focus on your breathing for one, but then also just kind of helps your brain like just calm down a little bit. And like, yeah.
One that I learned, and I know this is very like kid friendly, but honestly, it really does work because it distracts you from everything going on. You could start by pretending to smell a flower, so you're inhaling, and then you could pretend to blow out a candle, which would be your exhale. And it's a good way to distract
like
yourself
that.
because you're like, oh, like I'm smelling a flower right now, or I'm blowing out the candles to a cake. It's a good way to distract yourself, even if it is like a kid feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll also say that stretching has helped me a lot, especially at night when I'm like tossing and turning and I can't sleep and like
Yeah.
no like side of the pillow feels right. Like I'll usually get up, I'll start stretching, like I usually like feel a lot of tension in my back or like my neck. So I'll like start stretching as much as I can, and that usually really helps. Like after I stretch, my body feels more relaxed. I
Yep.
feel like I can
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah, I love stretching.
yeah, love stretching.
There's another thing that I learned in therapy, and I might be wrong on the exact like how you do this because I don't have it pulled up right in front of me, but it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you like take in it's mainly for like when you're like really having like an anxiety attack, but it can also
Yes.
just work just kind of in general when you feel yourself maybe like getting to that point. But it's like you have like 5 things that you find that are around you. It's like it has to do with your senses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 things that you find around you, 4 things that I think maybe you could like touch or something. It doesn't have to be necessarily in order.
Okay.
Like you could do like 5 things that you could touch, or like one thing that you can smell, or one thing that you
Gotcha.
can taste, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't remember the exact like pattern, like what number goes with what sense.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of to help you like take yourself kind of out of your brain and like back into the world and into like kind of reality in a sense, and just
Yeah.
ground yourself back to like where you are and in the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Um, any other?
Um, I mean, I go back to this almost every episode because it's just worked really well for I think all of us. And it just like making lists, like to-do lists, even just like a daily routine list, that has helped me so much over the years. Because over like in high school, I had really bad anxiety and I didn't even think about making lists. But once I started college, I realized like that like I need to really get my life together, and by making lists it's really just helped me know what to do that day or week, or even just like if I have a busy day I will sit there and like make a checklist of like times that I should get stuff done. That's just really helped me out. I don't know if that's helping you guys.
I'd say like sticking to lists and sticking to plans is very hard for me. I'll make a list and then like I'll never look at it again. And I'll kind of just
Yeah.
have like, or like I'll make the list, keep it in mind, and then I won't look at it until I'm like done with everything. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've just I have always had a tough time with lists and like reminders. Like I'll set reminders for myself, but I'll kind of just ignore them.
Oh, yeah, I'm kind of
So
bad at that.
yeah, exactly. So like alarms do help me sometimes,
Mhm.
but I'll be like, no, I'll have like I can like push this back a little more. So it's
Yeah.
like a lot of self-discipline like
Mhm.
also goes into it a lot. Like
Mhm.
yeah, it can be ADHD, but like maybe it is like a severe like symptom
Right.
of like ignoring lists and stuff. But like
Oh.
yeah, I think lists they do help me to an extent, but I also have to kind of like remember to actually follow through and actually look at the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that I like that we kind of wrote down too, and it was like positive self-talk.
Ooh, yeah.
So instead of saying like, oh, I'm being lazy, or oh, like I'm just procrastinating, it's more so like, no, I've done a lot today. I deserve this time to myself, or like,
Yeah.
no, my brain's really overloaded right now. Let me like go on a walk, or let me like watch my comfort show, whatever. Like I think just really being nice to yourself and always like giving yourself grace is just kind of the best thing that you could do sometimes.
And you know what that reminds me of actually? We learned about this in clinical counseling, psychology, where you have like these irrational thoughts and do you remember what it was
They're
called?
called cognitive distortions.
Yes, cognitive
Yeah.
distortions. And basically it's like again, like you tell yourself, I'm a failure. I'm not gonna do good on this. But then you kind of redirect your brain and you kind of think, okay, just because this happens, that doesn't mean I'm gonna be a failure. And then you
Right.
reword it and you're like, even if this does happen, like this doesn't
Not the end of the
define
world.
exactly. It's not
Right.
the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like different if maybe we could talk about this in another episode too. We could talk about all the cognitive distortions because there's
Because there's a
different
lot.
types.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
different types that people kind of resort to
Yeah.
when something happens. Yeah.
And we could talk about how you can kind of redirect these thoughts and like these irrational thoughts, and like there's a whole like sheet to it. It's like there's like a whole like
Yeah,
kind
it's
of like
definitely really interesting.
yeah, so we could definitely talk about that in another episode. But another one that I really like that I have found that has kind of worked for me is like chunking tasks. And so I know I mentioned earlier how alarms don't really help me, but I feel like when I'm kind of in the zone, like let's say I'm like, okay, I'll work on this project that's due tomorrow for like 15 minutes straight. No technology, no breaks, no nothing. And then after I'm done, I get like 10 minutes of TikTok or 10 minutes of Instagram, or like I can go eat a snack
Yeah.
and then another 15 minutes of work, another 10 minutes of break. I feel like that has helped me a lot because I have this really bad habit where I'll tell myself, sorry, y'all, I'm a little sick, where I'll tell myself that I'll I'll do something for like an hour straight, but then my phone is right there and I'm so tempted to pick it up. So then giving myself like actual time and like allotted time where I'm like kind of going in and out of work, I eventually find my groove while I'm doing work and then I don't want to stop. And so then I'm kind of like locked in for like sorry. I'm kind of locked in for like more than those 15 minutes and I'm kind of like the 15-minute alarm goes off. I'm like, wait, I could work on this for like another 10 minutes. And so I feel like that's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's something called. It's like I can't find what it's called. I was trying to look it up, but I just remembered it. And it's this. You like set a clock for like 30 minutes, and you just try to see like how much you can get done in that 30 minutes. Do you remember what that's called? It's something with
No,
a P. I can't think of it.
I
And I
don't.
can't find it. But anyways,
Oh gosh.
it's like you basically like you set okay like for an hour I'm just gonna get as much as I can get done in this hour, and then when the time's up you break and whatever.
Another big thing that I want to add is just lifestyle changes. I mentioned earlier how getting good sleep is a really big factor. You should be getting, what is it, at least 8 hours of sleep for
Yeah.
adults.
Yeah.
Um, and then also getting your meals, getting your breakfast, lunch, dinner, or if you don't eat 3 meals a day, at least like make sure that you're getting the protein, the nutrients that you need. Make sure you're feeling full throughout the day because that also helps you focus a lot too.
Yes, and it helps a lot with productivity.
Uh-huh, exactly. So, to wrap it all up, the main takeaway is that ADHD and anxiety work hand in hand. One distracts the other worries. But remember that it is normal. It is a common symptom of ADHD, and there are ways to cope with it.
Um, I will say that, everyone thinking, oh, like I'm too much for this specific thing or I'm just too sensitive. You're not, honestly. Your brain is managing so much. I know you have a lot on your plate, so just try to fill your mind with positive thoughts. Don't overpower them with negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and once you find a good balance of it, I think you'll do great things.
Yeah, and just really give yourself like self compassion, grace, again like those positive thoughts. Like it really helps a lot when your mind's kind of like on your side. Like
Mhm.
that's what you want to kind of get back to, is like you and essentially yourself being on the same side
Yeah.
and not fighting against each other.
Yeah.
So just reminding yourself that you're doing enough, you're okay, like you're getting the things done that you need to get done for that day, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. Or do you guys have anything else to add?
No.
I don't think so. I
Alright.
think that's it.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. Um, please take our survey.
Yes.
Yes.
And that'll help us a lot with not just our project, but also just um, seeing where this podcast will go and what directions we kind of should take. So yeah, remember to take our survey, please.
Yes.
And just remember once again, you're not alone. And this is what this podcast is for, is just to kind of spread awareness and make you feel understood. So thank you guys for
Yeah,
listening.
thank you for
We'll
listening.
see y'all next
Bye.
time.
Bye.